I am looking like somebody's child again. So, I got up this morning, right? I do my introductions at the end because I need to just get what's on my head off. So I don't want to talk about myself in the beginning, okay? I got up this morning and I was talking to my mom. I called her like, I don't know, it was early, 7 something maybe. Yeah, I was still laying in bed. Mom, right? And I just started talking to her about a whole bunch of stuff. And somehow towards the end of the conversation, we started talking about the weather and the way things are and the climate. And I've talked about this so many times with so many other people. I am freezing, by the way. I got my heat on. I got the space heater on and a blanket. And it's so crazy. I don't know. I think it's a draft near my window. I think one of them are like the frame is kind of weak, so air drafts in. I am still cold. Or I'm just getting over a cold, so that might be it. My body temperature still might be thrown off a little bit. I don't know. Anywho. So, she said something like, she said, you know, the weather has been really crazy, like, literally and spiritually and figuratively, it's been darker outside. And last week, I found myself getting really agitated with people who focus so much on the dark because it just gets more dark. And I feel like we know that all of these things, one thing I know for a fact with this world is everything exists because it's in equal proportions of its opposite. Everything. You know, everything. So, I feel like there is as much good as there is bad, but I feel that the bad gets more acknowledgement because everything is taught from the basis of fear. So you barely hear the stories about good things happening because the negativity holds such a higher platform, which is annoying. And so when she started to talk about that, I kind of started getting irritated. But then I just was like, nope, just listen. Right? So she said, you know, that's why we really need to pray and stay focused on, you know, making sure that things turn around. And I'm like, because if I had to hear you go into just sitting there talking about the negativity, it was going to take everything in me not to hit the end button. So I was like, yeah, I've been saying for years, and I always walk around saying, but nobody listens to Jen. I feel like the fish from the Cat in the Hat movie. I felt like the fish for a long time. And I'll be like, I would say, you know, the weather has been doing some really tricky things. Not only has it been changing for years, coming out of what we know as its normal pattern, but I feel like it's going back to its normal pattern. It's not coming out of a normal pattern. It's going back to its origin. Everything is going back to its origin, I feel like. I feel like the earth is becoming an eye. It's becoming an eye. Like a well-balanced eye. Like the white part, the color part, and then the pupil part. I just feel like that. And so I don't know how to explain it. In my head, I see it all coming together. But when I try to talk about it, I feel like it needs to come out in another language in order for it to be completely understood sometimes. I don't know. Because I don't think it's that deep. But I don't think it should be so deep to explain. But I think the depth of how I see it in my head, I can never get the words out except to explain it and it sound trippy. But I know what I'm talking about, so whatever. I know what I'm trying to say. Just whatever. Anyway, so I started talking to her about the weather pattern. I said, you know, I noticed when I used to come from the rink in the middle of the night, when I would leave, it would be freezing. Now, granted, when you go skate and, you know, you're moving your body, you know, getting all this heat drawn up. And you come out, and it's been some nights where it was freezing cold, but over time, doing the same thing, not transitioning into another season, I just noticed that it would be noticeably warmer outside in the middle of the night. One day, I got so obsessed with the idea, and I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. And maybe a lot of people aren't feeling this because they aren't going outside in the middle of the night. Like, you sleep. So, at one point, I started to get up. Like, if I had to go to the bathroom or something, I would go outside. Like, what's it feeling like out there? I want to know, right? And I'm like, this is so crazy. And I said, you know, I feel like, Mom, everything is changing. Everything is changing. And I said, you know, it's like I said to my brother a long time ago, we went to get our taxes done, and we were sitting outside the girl's house, and I looked up, and I'm like, do you ever just like stare at the sky? I've been like a sun gazer for years. My mom be like, you can't stare into the sun like that. I'm like, yes, I can. So sometimes I'll be sitting here if I have a sun gaze, you know, time, and everything will just be the same tint, and it's so decent. It's like nobody's made a filter for this color yet. It's so decent. You should try it. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you go blind, to each his own, but if you feel courageous enough to try it. I don't know how or why I started, and I can't even pinpoint a place of when I started doing it, but I just been doing it for so long that I'm just used to it. So anyway, I talked to her about that too. And I said, Mom, you know, when me and Jimmy went to go get our stuff done, we were sitting outside the house, and I asked him, did he ever just look at the sky? And I said, every single summer, the sun gets more hot and the clouds feel closer to the earth. Like it's to the point now where on a good day, you can just look up and it feel like you can just grab them like cotton candy. You know, like cotton candy, just take them out the sky. They just seem so, it's just like a cartoon. One day I came outside and I looked up and I was like, oh, what? What is this? I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Why does it look like this out here? So, and it wasn't ugly. Now, I'm not saying that the sky was ugly. It was gorgeous. It just looked so fake because it was so close. And I was like, you know what? That's it. We live in a dome. It's a tent. I'm done. They was right. They told us in the Hunger Games, in other words, you live in this whatever. And I had a dream a long time ago of living in a dome. Okay. The dream reminded me of this part on AI, that movie with Will Smith, where those big things would come down the street and just sweep everything off of it, so you either die or you don't. So it was kind of like that. I was driving on this road. It looked like, and I've never been to Vegas. I've never driven through that desert. I have no idea what it's like. But in the dream, that's where I was. And those things were coming, but I was really far away from it. But my awareness led me to know that those things were behind me. Those things that were pushing to, like, kill you off the road. And I was speeding and driving and driving and driving. And I got to this place where it felt like I was zipping through Las Vegas and this desert, and all of a sudden ended up on this hilltop. When I got to the hilltop, I knew I was in LA. And mind you, dreams, you can jump from here to there to everywhere. So, but my body completely felt, I was in my 20s when I had this dream. I'm 38. My body knew that I was standing inside of LA. And I started to feel like I was inside of that movie, what is it, Cool World? Cool World, right? Where there was this existence with human reality and cartoon reality. Both of them are realities. Okay? The thing about reality is you think that your reality is your own. You think your own reality is the only reality. Let me say it like that. But that's so not true. So when I was there, I was feeling so many different, like I was standing still, but I felt like I was in so many different places at one time. And I parked the car, I got out of the car, and I walked to go stand and look over the edge of the hill. So I could see over the edge of the hill. For whatever reason, even though it was a downward angle, I still had to walk up to get to the edge a little bit. But off the sides, you could see land. So it would remind you of like if you were on a plane at nighttime and you could see the city and you see all the lights and it just looked like a big graph. I was walking towards the top of the hill so that I could see the whole overview. And when I got almost towards the top, I went boom and walked into nothing, which I thought was at first. But then I tried to step forward again, and I pushed harder because it felt like I was being pushed back by something. And I pushed harder, and my head just boom. And I saw green lines everywhere, like green squares everywhere. And I put my hand on it, and I kept going like this against it. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was just like this big thing. Like I could not get past this thing. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, we being trapped. Where am I? Oh my God, this is not real. We don't, where am I? Where do we live? What am I doing? Because your dreams are really telling you something about life for real. Yeah, your dreams are really telling you. I think your subconscious holds more of what's really happening than your conscious does. Your conscious just works off of what you see, and your sub works off of what you see and what you don't see with your bare eyes. So I feel like it's more in the sub than I do in the regular conscious. But all your dreams tell you something, so hold them and write them down. All of them. I don't care how wacky and weird they are. The wackier and the weirder they are, the more that they're telling you. You just have to pay attention. And it came to you because you have the ability to understand the depth of what your dream is trying to tell you. But I told my mom about the weather patterns. I told her about the shape of this world. I said, I feel like it's all coming back down into some sort of a balance. I feel like with the way that the weather has been, I said, when I speak to customers on the phone, I speak to most of the business customers from the deep south, right? So their climate and the way the sun feels is totally different than up here. When I went to Miami, the first thing I noticed years ago was how different their humidity felt. Their heat was different. The sun felt different against my skin. It all has to do with the climate. But I said, now I talk to these people in these areas and they're telling me, it was cold today. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to wear. And their awareness to our weather, they're so aware of what our weather is doing now because they're starting to experience our weather. And ours is being thrown off up here in the Northeast. Like it's days where it could be wintertime and it's hitting 70. And I'm confused about whether I should wear a coat or walk out without a bra. And so, I mean, everything seems like with the weather, the way the weather is layering on both sides, it's like they're trying to be in equal parts of each other. It's trying to find a neutral point to stand in. Everything is neutralizing to me. That's how I feel. My mom was like, yeah, because you see all these things happening on the West Coast with the fires and this and that and the lava, and I was like, again, because I'm like, oh my God, please just don't make me feel like doomsday is about to come. Do I need to go get canned goods? Every time she starts talking, sometime I feel like, I know she's not I know she's not trying to be negative. I was just talking to one of my friends about this last night. I told him, I was like, I think like parents of our generation, like they just got such a one-track mind sometimes, and their way of seeing things is just, it's only from the way that they were taught. It takes years to peel that back, but I just feel like sometimes it's just that one way is so negative, it's so boxy. And so when I start talking about other things, as Jen, no, you got. I'm like, oh. But anyway, so she started talking about that, and I was just like, all right, well, the thing is, I do believe that to some extent we probably will start to experience the ruptures. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, it wasn't that many years ago where earthquake hit Philly. It came from very far away, and we still felt like the aftershock, and it shook us. So I do feel like this world is going to witness a natural phenomenon, like not a, like when they say weather event, it makes it sound like it's so it makes it sound like a like entertainment, like, oh, for fun. No, it's not. It's serious. But I do feel like with the age that we're in, we're going back to the age of Aquarius. So I feel that the world is the planet that we're on, the planet, not the world, the planet. It's a difference when you talk about the world and you talk about the planet. When you talk about the world, you talk about the vibration of the people that are placed here to care for it. When you talk about the earth, you talk about grounded as it is. Okay? So the vibration of the earth is changing because it wants its ground back. And in order to do that, it has to neutralize. When you think about a plan to do anything, you start where? You start from ground zero. You create a root. Ah! I was just talking to oh, man. I gotta make a phone call. Anyway, because you're just talking about roots and the root of everything. We're just talking about this. This is great. Anyway, so I just feel like things are going back, and it's not going to be to cause complete and total chaos. I do believe it's going to be to bring more splendor. I made a video a while ago, earlier in the year, about the world experiencing tower moments. And I say the world, and I'm associating this with people. It's the world and earth, maybe I should say. Maybe I should say the earth. Experiencing tower moments. But I was more so at that point making it relative to people, because people have to understand the concept of when you pray for something and your heart really desires it, sometimes your mind is not strong enough to let the concept go. So you keep allowing yourself to go through the same thing over and over again. And because the universe understands that your weak mind is too weaved in to let go, something from the outside will happen to cause you or force you to let it go. And your job is to see that you were supposed to loosen your hands from whatever was tying you up and get yourself into a space where you actually take the steps to get yourself into alignment. And because the universe knows your path better than you, sometimes the universe will lay it out for you, but the universe will do it in a way where it'll come and mother and father the mess out of you, and it might be hard for you to take. But then when you see the end result of what's happened, you get such a better understanding of why things played out the way that they did. So I talked about the tower moment coming because there are a lot of people who want very, very stable things. And perhaps the things that they've been building over some time haven't been built from a stable place. And then when after a while things start to show so many weak links, it's because both parties knew from the beginning the foundation that things were being built on. And you can't really expect anything built on something weak to stay strong. Not unless both people are in this transitional state where they're giving each other strength and refusing to operate out of weakness. But you can't build a castle on sand. What did Beyonce say? What my sister say? You can't, even if you use concrete and you build a small house on sand, the water will eventually come and swoosh it away. And even though the house might still be in place because it's built out of concrete, the water will lift it. It will roll it or swish it into a rock that sits in the middle of the ocean, and the house will eventually fall apart. So either way you look at it, it's going to be broken down. And the only way the pieces can be put back together is if it's taken apart. And the taken apart is not to keep you or leave you in ruin. It's to make sure that you build up or rebuild and pay very close attention to the pieces that you use when you put things back together. And that you're not doing the same things, repeating the same cycles, and allowing yourself to put things together the same way and expecting a different result, but you did it the same way. So there you go. The weather has a way of talking to us in so many more ways than just how it feels. The earth is talking to us. It's changing. It's letting us know that we need to change. This Aquarian time that we're going back into, this golden era, is such a creative space. And this is why I feel like the world is neutralizing. And like I said, not for negative things to happen, but for positive awakenings and things of that nature to happen, to really develop relationships with people who are ready. And that means exactly what I said it means. The relationships that you currently are in, even if you are trying to hang on to them, some people have already started to experience this pull of being separated from certain people. And it has nothing to do with the person, the opposite person. It has everything to do with what's happening internally with the person that's having that experience. I myself went through it, and I don't look at it as a negative. I see from a distance that the people that I used to talk to all of the time are growing significantly, and so am I. And I don't feel like a moment is lost or a beat is lost, because one person in particular I used to talk to every single day. When I did talk to her again, it was like we still was talking every day, and then both of us went back to doing what we've been doing, and that's it. I'm not taking anything away, or oh, it's probably God. God said, you know, when you pray that prayer, God move people out of my way that don't need to be. No, it's not that. It's absolutely not that. It's kind of like this secluded period where you're not totally isolated, but you're just gearing up and getting your shit in order. That's really what it is. It's not personal. It's not like it's no hate involved at all. It was just a smooth move out. And it's not even a complete move out. It's like I'm still available. It's just I'm over here really getting some stuff together, and that I don't know how else to explain it. And then for those that truly understand it, you really don't have to explain the whole time. You just do what you do, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Let it do what it do, baby. And and that's it. So I said all of that to say, happy Monday. I talked to my mom about the weather, and this whole thing played out in my head, and this is how my brain works every single day. It's crazy, right? So I know I said a lot of things, and it sounded like all over the place, but you know, I really, really hope that with some people this totally resonated. Like, even if the whole thing, if you couldn't see how the one link to the other thing that's fine. Understand. But if you could take parts of what I say and it helps you in any kind of way, I'm happy. Okay? It was something else that I feel like I'm not saying. It'll come to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll write it in the paragraph under the video. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. Oh, I'm Jengerbomb. Oh, I'm Jen. That's it, Jen. Jengerbomb official, gingerly gingerbread. One of my friends from work a long time ago, he started calling me Ginger. That's where it started. And ever since then, for whatever reason, a lot of people randomly just started calling me Ginger. And I'm like, why? So it just stuck with me. And then when I started to roller skate, I joined a group. And they're called the Bombshells. So they took the ginger and added bomb. So I've been Jengerbomb all this time. Anyway. So I like to call myself Jengerbomb, everybody's mom. Because that's basically how I treat everybody. And my friends, since I was little, called me grandmom. Like, since I was like 8. Which I thought was weird, but whatever. And now I really am a grandmom. She's so cute. She's so cute, my little lady. She's so cute. She's so freaking cute. Anyway, how she give somebody baby fever? I always say that. I look at it and I be like, wow, you make me have another baby, but you're here, so it's cool. But anyway, I am out this piece. I will see you all in the next random video I decide to post and talk about stuff. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you can appreciate my blanket. Walking around like Linus. Now I'm starting to get a little toasty because I got too much heat on in this house and I'm about to turn the space heater off, but I like how this blanket feels, so we about to keep this thing on. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a productive day. Go back and watch some of my other videos. I also feel like some people are healing, and I can attest to this, and I didn't see this coming with myself. If you would have asked me, I'd have been like, no. But I do feel that some people's categories of love in their life are healing because their relationships with their parents are healing. I have a video on that where I used Doreen Virtue's love romance deck, and I took the card. I was shuffling one day and the card flew out, and it's just like this whole storyline came, and I just reacted. I just turned on my camera and I was like, wow, I just already feel like how deep this is going to be. And I just spoke from where I was channeling a message, and it was so deep, and I sat with it. Even after I stopped the video, I sat there for such a while, just in my thoughts, like, wow. But I think that you should go back and watch that. That's an old one. I also made one about this dream that I had, and this is why I say that I feel like I know we're going to have like this natural phenomenon, and I think it's going to be, I think the planet that I saw come from behind the sun was Titus. I think that's what it was. Anyway, so I think you should go back and watch that. It talks about the twin flame union also, or what do I want to call it? It talks about the awakening that happens when you are in your when you first have an encounter with meeting a reflection of yourself, when you first have an encounter with being in the awareness that you've met a reflection of yourself, because you always meet reflections of yourself, but I don't think we realize that we're doing it on a daily basis because of how we're taught. But when you are rudely awakened into meeting the reflection of yourself and things and parts and pieces of yourself that you need to fix, you really get busted open. Talk about that. And what other video? I can't remember all of them, but I just feel like I was led to mention those two. So I feel that you should go back and listen to them if you have time. You might want to do it while you're cooking. Because I think when I was doing that, I was getting used to being on camera or recording myself. And sometimes when I sit here and I talk to myself, you know how you have those theta-like thoughts when you, like when you're in the shower or when you're washing dishes or when you're on the toilet, anything associated with water, the thoughts just flow in. And so when you try to sit there and rehab the thought, it's never the same. You try to get it out and it's like, why didn't I have a phone on or something next to me so I can just record it or write it down while I was thinking? But it's about being grounded and being able to get back into a space. You can still reach those thoughts. Anyway, this is going on to a half an hour now, probably a little over. I don't feel like talking no more. I'm tired. I'm going to see y'all in the next video, okay?